Hello everyone, my name is Ben and welcome back to PASSTHEauxCORD, a channel where if there's one thing I can't recommend and can recommend you don't do strongly enough, it's to buy a cheap pop filter on Amazon. Because this fucking thing, I tell you what. Last time when we left this off, I was at My God is the Sun, and now the 6th track is where we're at, and I do a lot of hand motions. I tell you, it's something, isn't it? Kalopsia, I want to say, is how this next track is pronounced. I'm going to go ahead and look that term up so that I know maybe what I'm talking about. It is an ancient Greek word meaning lovely, good, or beautiful, according to Wikipedia. Or possibly it can be a noun meaning the delusion of things being more beautiful than they are. Okay, that's very interesting. I am going to go ahead and guess that second thing that I said there, that it's going to be about something being more beautiful than it really is, or seeming more beautiful than it really is, that is. I'm always very glad when I look up these definitions, because I am too small-brained to realize what the fuck it means. Let's go! Oh yeah, this opened on these sounds here. It's like some breaths going on. Oh, the way you turn the heartbeat into the drums? I hear you. Alright. At least I think that's what happened there. Maybe I'm stupid, I don't know. Either way, this sounds beautiful. Fucking okay! Just woke me up there. Why do you sound like Ozzy Osbourne right now? Oh yeah, see? Here we got it. We got it coming in here. Alright. This is never doing what I'm expecting it to. There's always going to be something, isn't there? Very interesting. Oh, hold on. Trent Reznor was on this. I'm noticing that in the credits here. Interesting. Seems like he's singing with him, and maybe that's why I thought it sounded like Ozzy. God. Good. Okay then, that was certainly interesting. Yeah, that had a lot going on. That had a lot. And you know, have criticized another album that will not be named here for doing the kind of very huge shift into something very stripped back into something very like dramatic and loud. But the fact is, that is the only time it's happened on here so far, and why I was mad at that album was because it became a gimmick and they did it every time. And here I liked it a lot, because it's very dramatic and theatrical, and the theatrics of this album has been one of the biggest things playing into its very charismatic attitude that it's had behind it this whole time. Really liked everything that this song had to offer. Again, the vocals sounded a little bit different here. I think that's because Trent Reznor was doing parts of it, which is very interesting to see that collaboration going on here. Once again, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. You had Trent Reznor helping you with the song, and that's all you fucking did with it. Like, why don't I even know he's here? Make him sing a part. Do something. It seems like the narrator here is trying to be optimistic in general, and they're trying to look at their life and go, oh, maybe it's not that bad. You know, they're trying to turn around their mindset here. He's talking about black balloons. That's a pretty commonly used metaphor, at least in recent times it has been. I know Denzel Curry used that as well. I've heard it other places as well. It usually just means that the bad things are going to float away. The blackness is dark thoughts, dark feelings, things that have happened to you. That's why it's all black, and it floats away eventually and you won't ever know it's there again. So I guess it kind of seems to be about seizing your problems, not worrying about things so much, or at least trying to. But yeah, it ended up being a really impactful song just because of the very dynamic sound that it put forward. Like it a lot. Alright, good stuff. Fairweather Friends is the next one. Nice. I'm telling you, I'm never expecting it. There we go. somebody doing backing vocals here? I swear it's more than just Josh. Okay. It's gonna cut me off there. Alright, I see how it is. I was beating me with these riffs. This solo is fucking killer.
I don't give a shit about them anyhow.
Nice. Yeah, apparently Trent Reznor did do some of the backing vocals on here as well. So I think that's actually who was singing with him. It's just that it's not necessarily credited when I'm reading along with the lyrics here. So did a little bit more with him on here. Still hoping Alex Turner shows up again. Really want him to sing a hook on here or something. This song, according to Josh, is about how his friends reacted to him having a hard time getting back into the swing of being a musician after his botched surgery. Some of them stayed around, some of them didn't. I mean, obviously you can look at the fact that he has at least someone who I assume to be his friend on the track right here with him. Obviously the term Fairweather Friends is pretty simple to interpret just in general. That song, again, very theatrical, huge sounding, just in general, really easy to just kind of jam out to for that reason. Love some of the descriptions on here. I guess a lot more in the like phrases I guess that he uses. There's stuff on here that I'm trying to think of what the term is that I'm looking for. But like if you say something like the glass is half empty or half full, that doesn't make sense like just in a literal sense of things, but it makes sense because you know how that metaphor goes, I guess. There was a lot of those just phrases that were tossed in, and the fact that the chorus is made almost entirely out of those kind of metaphors, I guess, was a really nice way of writing it. Good track, good track. Still, we're 8 in here. Haven't disliked any. Still looking really good. Smooth Sailing is the next one. And it looks like this one was a single, maybe? That's a very interesting sample to be using. Nice. Some more blues rock kind of sounds on here. I dig it. This bass line just kicks ass. Very nice. Very interesting tuning on a solo here, you know? You'd expect it to be kind of different. Really love the vocals on this track. Falsetto sounded really nice. Okay. Nice. Again, a very good track. Definitely like that track. One thing that I would like to point out here, though, is that while these songs sound cool individually, they become a little bit less memorable in general just because of how much they switch up in their sound. So I'm looking back at the last 3 tracks on here, really, yeah, I guess since Fairweather Friends, and I'm like, okay, which one of these pieces goes to which song? It's kind of my problem that I end up having when an album does this thing where they make the tracks very dynamic sounding. You know, it just ends up being kind of this mush of different pieces of songs when you look back at the track list. But still, it sounds really cool in context. It works. It does its job. And yeah, this song had such a sick bass line to it. Had a really just confident aura to it, I guess. It just came across in a very good way that I feel like it was definitely trying to come across in. I guess what Josh kind of seems to be saying in the lyrics here is that he's been through a lot of bullshit, and from this point forward, he's just going to live his life as a musician, as a successful person, and it's going to be smooth sailing from there on out, as the song literally states. Nothing super deep going on here, which actually just further goes to show that the lyrical inconsistency is very strong on this. None of these tracks connect to each other at all, which I guess I do find a little bit disappointing. But 3 tracks ago, we had a song about worshiping the sun. This has a totally different tone. So kind of annoys me in that sense of it, but whatever. I Appear Missing is the next one. Longest track on the album, by the way, but only by a little bit. Very emotive chorus on here. Gotta love that. Very interesting section here. I like how ominous it sounds suddenly. I was gonna say, alright. Nice. Beautiful section here. Nice. When I saw the long length of that track, I was particularly worried, especially at this point in the album, that it wouldn't necessarily be worth sitting through the entire portion of it, and that it wouldn't really do that much the whole time. I don't know why I thought that, considering how many longer songs by Queens of the Stone Age I've already liked, but that definitely did a lot with its runtime, and it kept me interested all the way through. I really love it when I listen to a longer song like that, and it doesn't feel like it was that long at all. I mean, you're not on the level of giving me half-hour songs that feel like a brief couple of minutes, okay? I've had that happen before, but this is still, it just felt like a regular song, you know what I mean? And it had so many different sections to it. It was very present in changing everything up, but still keeping the same mood. It did that a lot better than some of the tracks before it, to be honest with you. It really kept to the same feeling behind it, while still front to back sounding very different than it did starting out. Very cool track for really all of those reasons. Just instrumentally, there's so much to say about that track, but I mean, it really speaks for itself for the most part. Just a beautiful track in its overall presentation. Hey, Ben from the future here. I look like I just crawled out of a dumpster, so there's no way you're getting me to turn on the camera and film this part, but damn, was everything I said right there an understatement. Like, this is such a beautiful song. I returned to it while editing this and gave it a listen all the way through again, and yeah, this is some really powerful shit. What I actually didn't realize is that Josh Homme apparently was in a coma at one point or another following a knee operation which went wrong, which is apparently the botched surgery that the other track was talking about. I had no idea that this was something that happened to him, but he touches on themes of depression, as the rest of this talks about. Much of that could be due to a very traumatic thing happening to you like that, and really that generally speaks on some of the feelings of this, in that a lot of this is about struggling to be optimistic, but you've still been through a lot in your time, you know? That's kind of one of the big things that I take away from it, at least. I love that this song managed to sound like its meaning a lot. I mean, I was, of course, reading along with the lyrics, getting kind of these melancholic feelings along with it. I didn't really know some of the background behind it, as I said, but it still did an amazing job for the band to make the song sound like what it's supposed to be about. Like Clockwork, the title track is the last one on here, and we're gonna go ahead and get right into that. Oh, we got more pianos on here? Alright. The lyrics seem to be reflecting on a lot of what we saw on the first 2 tracks of the album. Okay, alright. Very tasteful addition of some guitar here for sure. Ooh, nice. Nice. Really like how it closed with the phrase "it's all downhill from here," because that did kind of tie into the track "Smooth Sailing," at least in the terms of that track in particular. Made it kind of tie into some things. But this song definitely was tying into a lot of the themes, especially on that second track on here, where he was talking about, you know, basically time flies, memories are here, and it seems like so much has happened in such a short amount of time. A lot of it does seem to be talking about this failed love that didn't ever end up working out. Kind of seems to tie into that. Does add a little bit of cohesion to the album for that reason. I like the sound of this track and the way it presented itself. Certainly was pretty similar to the other kind of piano ballad in the start type track on here. I want to say that was Kalopsia. It started off just the very subtle piano bass track with the singing, and then it did a lot more from there. And you know, I mean, if we didn't already have a song on the album that sounded like that, this would have been more impactful than it was here, but I still liked it a fair bit. But this album in general, I feel like I'm gonna need a few more listens of it to really decide my entire thoughts on it. I guess one thing that I have been kind of griping on this entire time is that, you know, I mean, I'm just coming off of the last album that I did listen to, which was a concept album where every track related in some way to the last, and it was all very solid, very well put together, even had things that were like basically skits or sounds in between the tracks that directly made them tie together into one another. And I'm kind of, you know, in the mindset that this is going to be somewhat similar to that, and it really wasn't. I just wish that, you know, there was more of a decided theme on this album, and I guess I'm just glad that most of the tracks took a similar style. In general, they were all very theatrical and big, while still being more relaxed and more in this kind of spacier, progressive rock side of things that you didn't necessarily see on the hard, gritty riffs of the last album that I listened to. Overall, I think there's some really beautiful tracks on here, and some of them are probably going to grow on me as well. You got a couple tracks that just sounded really good in the moment and didn't necessarily have all of that much of a deep meaning behind them either. Probably give it an 8- out of 10. That could change one way or the other though, very dramatically even on future listens, so take it with a grain of salt. But let me know what you thought of this album down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Drop a like on the video if you did like what you saw today, and subscribe to the channel for more music related content coming your way. Hit the bell for notifications on that same thing as well. But that is just about going to wrap it up for this one, and I will see you in the next video.